Beautiful sky in Hampton, New Jersey yesterday. We do have a chance to see some off and on cloudy skies at times, which could lead to some nice sunrises and sunsets over the next few days in the Northeast. We do have that chance again for some scattered rain, so we are going to be watching for off and on showers. Not a complete washout for the for the Northeast, the New England region, but we could see maybe some strong storms back over into the Midwest. So from Indiana to Ohio, Kentucky, really going to be a gusty wind event when any of these storms come through. And we've already had some severe thunderstorm warnings this morning, likely adding to that as we go into the afternoon hours. It's going to be hot out ahead of this boundary that's coming through, though. So some of us, even along the I-95 corridor, getting well into the 80s and 90s. High temperatures this afternoon along the I-95. We're in the low to mid 80s, up towards the Great Lakes, mid 80s for us, and even areas like Pittsburgh getting to 90 degrees. Now, we have seen significant rain over the last week across portions of West Virginia, and into North Carolina. Now, there have been some improving conditions in more recent days, like the last 3 days, maybe upwards of 2 to 3 inches of rain. But now we're adding a thunderstorm mixing in with some of these areas that are already very saturated. So localized flooding is going to be a concern. But highlighted here into southern Indiana, southern Ohio, Kentucky, down into Tennessee, and even into the deep south, we'll be watching for maybe some strong storms developing and continuing to move through throughout the rest of our morning and into the afternoon hours. Again, we've already seen a severe thunderstorm warning out there this morning. Likely that more of those continue to be issued as this complex from this morning continues to move through areas like Lexington, up towards Cincinnati, Columbus. We'll see those storms headed towards areas like Cleveland towards the evening hours tonight. West Virginia could have some storms passing through off and on into the overnight hours. Once we get past sunset tonight, a lot of the severe aspects will fade, but we still could have some rumbles of thunder, maybe waking you up first thing in the morning. Otherwise, New England's looking to stay mainly dry. West Virginia highs throughout the day today and into the day tomorrow, getting into the 80s. You can see 80s across the board for most of us, but some areas like Washington, D.C., like Burlington, Vermont, getting into the 90s. And Boston, Philadelphia, we're not too far away from that. We'll continue to heat up out ahead of this rain as we get into the middle of the week. But because it's hot, because it's humid, we have those pop-up storms in our forecast through the day on Monday into the day on Tuesday, and we'll be watching for maybe some gusty rain showers embedded within this complex coming through. But it's going to cool us off, and it's going to feel a lot better too once that humidity has dropped out of the atmosphere. As you look back towards Indy and Chicago, Detroit, we're falling into the upper 70s, low 80s, but out ahead of that, we're still in the 80s and 90s. I'm talking 93 and Boston, 92, Washington, D.C., and you factor in the humidity, it's going to feel a little sticky out there. Boston, again, 93, but areas up around the Cape, we're still getting into the 70s and 80s. Worcester getting to 90, Springfield 93. It's going to take some time for that cold front to eventually pass through. It'll be throughout the day on Tuesday and into the day on Wednesday. Scattered storms remain in our forecast, and it will put down a couple of inches of rain, especially back over where we have the heavy rain out there today, and that will be weakening as we go forward in time. So Columbus, Ohio, you can see almost daily rain chances through the middle of the week. We go from the 90s back down into the 70s before we get a break by Thursday. Let's take you out to the Music City where some storms are out there this morning, Patrick.
Yeah, we were tracking those, Chelsea. Thank you so much. You're right. Middle Tennessee, been seeing those off and on thunderstorms. Could see some more of those even later on today with some development that we're anticipating across areas of Tennessee and through the southeast. Thanks so much for your southeast regional forecast. I'm meteorologist Patrick Crawford. Strong storm chances across the southeast region today. Isolated pockets of flash flooding, and then that weather, it's going to continue to stay on the warm and muggy side throughout a majority of the region today. Severe weather chances, we've mentioned that, into Middle Tennessee, Nashville you're included, but that extends down into Alabama, Mississippi, and across the Mississippi River for today. And we could see some of these storms lasting all the way into tomorrow morning as far as that severe threat goes. So here's our forecast. We'll pause it at 5 o'clock this afternoon. We've got some scattered thunderstorms down into central and southern Florida. There's a look at those stormy conditions moving through Alabama, Georgia, East Tennessee, and then we've got a complex of thunderstorms moving across the natural state of Arkansas. Now, what we've got to deal with, though, are maybe some more thunderstorms for a lot of these same areas all the way into the morning, as these storms are going to be racing down into the south central U.S. So Oklahoma, Arkansas, maybe even northern Mississippi and western Tennessee. By tomorrow morning, there could be some strong storms impacting your morning commute. We're going to look at those highs now. Step off the map so you can take all the numbers in. New Orleans, Jackson, Little Rock, upper 80s, low 90s. But of course, it's going to feel even warmer for all these cities because we have to include that humidity. So heat index value is going to make it feel even warmer than the air temperature. We've got the departure from average map up on the screen. So when we're looking at these numbers, the positive numbers mean that many degrees above normal. Where you see the negative sign in front of the number, that's below average, like Miami, 4 degrees below normal. But Jackson, you'll be above average. And then Mobile, that 0 means you're right at average for this time of the year. Looking at Alabama, Haleyville 87, 91 in Birmingham. Montgomery, you should be in the low 90s. We'll go 93 for that expected high. Over into Georgia, there's more of the same with the heat and humidity. Albany 93, Macon 93, Athens 92, Augusta, you're up to 95. Likely going to feel like the low 100s, though, when you include the humidity. Severe chances are also going to be in that forecast Monday morning, especially for Oklahoma and Arkansas, when we track that complex that's going to be moving through during the overnight. So there could be some intense weather as we begin the day, and then all that energy moves down to the south and southeast on Monday afternoon, Monday evening, but it still produces scattered thunderstorms from southeast Louisiana through the Gulf Coast states of Mississippi and Alabama. More scattered thunderstorms developing into early tomorrow, or say early Tuesday morning, into parts of Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas. So maybe a lot of those same areas hit hard again with strong and severe weather. Heavy rain, yes, could have some of that as well for the middle and lower Mississippi Valley. Nashville, you might see up to 3 inches of rain when we add it all up. There's your extended forecast for places in North Carolina. We've got Greensboro, North Carolina on the screen, where those storms are on the way later this week. And we'll leave you with a look at Chattanooga, Tennessee. More Weather Nation is straight ahead. Keep it right here.